Since the Green Vision, since the inception of the Green Vision, we've added 3,500 clean tech jobs in San Jose. So we are doing it. You know, we are acting. We already have the best recycling program of any major city in the United States of America, but that's not good enough. We're continuing to improve on that. And before I get into some of the other details of how we're approaching some of the Green Vision goals, I do want to touch on something that I was asked to speak about, which is stimulus funds and how it relates to San Jose. Stimulus funds, you know, it's been an interesting process. It really has been a whirlwind. If you think about right now, we're on the verge of having stimulus funds, having the checks cut. We're barely 6 months into the president's administration, barely 5 months after he got sworn into office. So this is, for government, this is lightning speed. Maybe in the private sector, 5-6 months, you know, maybe the speed of business or a little slower than the speed of business. But for government, especially at the federal level, to act at that speed is really remarkable. And so there have been a lot of trips to DC. I took a trip to DC. I know the mayor's been out there, I think 3 times now. Different members of our staff have been out there. We have a lobbyist, and we're working with our federal delegation as well to make sure that, first of all, that the urban centers are really focused on, and to make sure that San Jose and Silicon Valley is once again considered. Because for a few years now, not only has Silicon Valley been on the outside looking in on what's happening in DC as far as the administration perspective, but California has somewhat been ignored over the last few years. Times have changed and things are different now. And so we're trying to take advantage of that. What San Jose will be getting as a city, we'll be getting approximately $50 million, 50, in stimulus funds. But it covers a lot of different areas. Some of it is literally shovel-ready road maintenance projects, but there are some that have to do with clean technology. Around $11 million we'll be getting in clean tech job training. So we already have programs. This is what the administration is doing. They're finding programs that already work and putting money into those programs, but change the angle a little bit. So we already have good job training programs in San Jose. Now that money is coming in specifically for clean technology. So you get these laborers and these workers, some who are skilled, some who may not be skilled and need training, and maybe you have skilled electricians, carpenters, and so on, but they're not skilled in fixing a house up electrically for solar or installing solar panels or weatherization. And so this allows us to do that. And the way you have to think about how governments think, especially at a local level, it's really so much about leveraging. In fact, the Obama administration has said that not only is accountability critical in how they decide who gets the money, but so is how the money is being leveraged. And so right now, if we can use that money to create jobs and create jobs for folks who otherwise wouldn't be employable, that's a huge amount of leveraging from our perspective. About $8.8 million is in energy grants that we'll be getting in San Jose. And the checks are arriving soon. And what we're going to be doing with the energy grants has to do with our energy plan. In fact, the City Council, we just approved it a couple weeks ago, an energy plan, which has a number of different facets to it, but one is to put up 50 megawatts of renewable energy throughout our city. We have approximately 67 city facilities. So with that 50 megawatts, and with one of the other components of our energy plan, which is to drop usage by 25%, that 50 megawatts should satisfy our energy consumption for all city facilities. And so that's where that $8.8 million is going to go to start that process. And we believe we can do it within 5 years or less, which again, for government agencies, that's pretty fast. And we certainly feel that we're on the forefront nationwide, especially for larger cities. There are also about at least 85 different rebate programs for residents and consumers. And we don't want to see, we want to make sure that our residents have the opportunity to take advantage of these programs that are existing already. So we want to create a dashboard for the city, essentially ensuring that residents are taking advantage of available programs by by zip code initially where those rebates have been cashed. And you can figure that out, whether it's a PG&E rebate, a federal rebate, by finding out where they're being used. And where they're not being maximized, target those neighborhoods, target those areas of the city. Also, calculating energy consumption is critical. As Andrew was talking about smart grid, microgrid, well, this is a precursor to that. You have to start with some framework of calculating how people are using energy. And as I talk about all these issues, you have to keep in mind, we have a city staff, we have about 7,000 employees. The people in front of me right now, all of you, know more about all these issues I'm talking about than our 7,000 employees. Obviously we have firefighters, police officers, people doing other kinds of work, but we don't have the type of brain power on these issues enough so that we can implement these things on our own. So we do need you. We do need the private sector. We do need entrepreneurship. Now, one of the other things, and you may have heard about the Berkeley program, which is a solar assessment district. Well, this is really exciting for our city. The state right now is moving forward with AB 811, which essentially is to allow these assessment districts. And they're looking at 2 counties and 2 cities, a county and a city in Northern California, a county and a city in Southern California. The counties have been selected: Alameda County in Northern California, San Diego County in Southern California. And we are in a great position. In fact, we feel pretty confident that we will be the city selected in Northern California. And mostly because we have 1 million people, and we get a lot of sun, and we have a lot to take advantage of if we are chosen for that assessment district. For those that aren't aware of how that works, essentially, once an assessment district is created, and in our case it would be the entire city of San Jose, residents can choose to add the assessment to their property tax, and it's billed over a 20-year period. And then they can take out loans for weatherization and solar panel installation. And the brilliant part about that is that it just goes on their property tax. You sell the house, well, they're going to know that they're getting that with the house. And nowadays, it's not just a bad thing. You're buying a house that maybe has solar panels on it. You're kicking in a little bit on the property tax, but that takes away the problem of the upfront cost. And especially now in these current markets, the issue with financing. And so we're very hopeful that San Jose will be the one to push forward and be that city in Northern California. And in fact, this Tuesday, the timing is perfect. It's coming before City Council this Tuesday coming up, and we're gonna be voting on it to basically go forward and apply to be that Northern California city. If we get it by October, we can have this program up and running in San Jose. So just think about those opportunities when you're talking about a city of 1 million people having to implement that type of program. Another thing that we did as a city is that we implemented a green building policy. And what that essentially did was it created a framework going forward as projects come before us through the planning department and someone wants to build a commercial building or a residential building. There are certain standards depending on how big the building is that they have to satisfy. But through that green building policy, we already have 1 million square feet of city-owned buildings that are currently being certified for LEED. Our city hall is the first city hall in the country to be deemed LEED Platinum. And so we're very proud of that, obviously, for setting the example, but there's still a lot more work to do, and we currently have 30 more buildings going through that process in our city that are city-owned buildings. On top of that, there are 5 to 6 million square feet of private buildings going through the planning process to be certified LEED. And we also approved a private sector green building standard, so that now there's a government mandate of how the private sector must build their buildings. So if you consider all these different things that we're doing, San Jose is truly ahead of the curve, and there are enormous opportunities, especially when you consider, as we see, how far ahead some other countries are. We're just trying to play catch up, but we feel that San Jose is taking the lead, at least, in playing catch up. And being here in Silicon Valley, there's a great opportunity for partnership with existing companies in San Jose as well as in the surrounding region. One of the things we're doing as well is if you come to City Hall, you'll see right across